Axel Drioli, che appunto terrà questo workshop in particolare sull'audio spaziale. Lui è come avevo scritto sul manifesto, Immersive Audio Producer e Designer. Poi vi racconterà, immagino, lui anche cosa sta facendo, quali sono i suoi prossimi progetti. Quindi lascio a lui la parola. Vi ricordo che poi alle 4:30 ci ritroviamo qui, ci sarà una breve presentazione con alcune novità di ESOF 2020, quindi Trieste Città della Scienza. Ci sarà la premiazione dell'Hackathon, del VR Hackathon Contest che si è tenuto ieri e l'altro ieri, quindi daremo il premio alla squadra vincitrice di questo primo hackathon in VR, e poi ci sarà la masterclass di Michele Veillac, a cui siete tutti ovviamente invitati. Lascio la parola a Yes.
Yeah, cool. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Axel, thank you for the introduction. I'm an immersive audio producer and designer. I've been working in 360 VR for the past 2 years. I'm based in London right now, but I'm going to move soon to Lille, just because I want to be more closer to Europe. UK is a great place, London is great, but I think we can learn a lot from what they've been doing the past 2 years and now take all this knowledge and bring it to Europe. I've been to VR Days in Amsterdam in October, and I'm seeing lots of great stuff, lots of people really happy about VR. Yeah, I think it's just a great time to be in the field. There are lots of question marks, right? We don't really know how to watch it, we don't really know how to make it visually, how to make it sonically. So I'm here today just to explain some basic concepts really on immersive audio, and I hope you're going to find it useful. If you have any questions, just drop me an email. I'm everywhere on social media, and even afterwards today. As I said, immersive producer. I've been traveling quite a lot in the past year. I've been to Africa, all around Europe for various projects. Here I was in Chad in past October, working on a big project, on a docudrama for UNICEF. And I don't really see it now. This is my studio. I have a 20.4 loudspeaker system. So we're talking about 20 speakers and 4. I mean, yeah, I don't like light anyway, right? Who does? Everyone. I have my 20.4 loudspeaker system that I just love. I love loudspeakers, and I wish we could have more of these situations around the world. I hope to bring it in Trieste at some point. This is the journey, the project that I just finished 2 days ago to mix, produced by UNICEF and Charlotte Windel-Mikkelborg. We're going to launch it in the next weeks, premiering it at hopefully Tribeca, and we're going to be at the Berlinale at the end of February. And I've been working on the last VR experience for the Shard. It's like a virtual roller coaster that you walk up to the Shard and you sit on one of these moving chairs and you put a headset on and headphones. You feel like you're going all around the Shard. I don't have a video here, maybe I can show it later, but people were freaking out. They were like, ah, what's that? That was great, for 1618, an immersive audio company that I freelance for. And, oops, sorry, we're working with Visualize, a cinematic VR company based in London, and I've been traveling a bit Europe in 2017 with them. Great experiences, great content, still stuff to work on. Don't think that just because you make stuff in London, they're the best. That's something really important. I mean, it was the Mecca, London, back in the day. Now, I think there are better places as well. Right now, I'm working on one of the biggest immersive theater productions based on VR, AR in London. It's called Somni. I'm probably the first person that is able to talk about it in public. We're going to launch the marketing campaign next week. It's different. There are different rooms, loads of speakers, and you have one 90-minute 90-minute story that you go through in different rooms and you experience different formats of VR, headsets, projections, lots of crazy stuff. Check Somni on internet next weekend and you can find lots of information about it. It's based in London and it's a great experience, really exciting. And I'm tutoring at University College London, one of the first in UK courses where we teach immersive factual storytelling. So we literally teach filmmakers, it's an MA course, a master's course. We teach people how to create content in 360, and I'm really glad to be the audio person, immersive audio tutor that takes care of them. Quite tricky obviously, but it's a great opportunity to be there and learning from new, fresh minds. You know, there is so much that we can learn. This technology is so young that we literally, there are no experts from my point of view. Just people that have experience working with it, but it doesn't mean that they are actually right. I think I have some reasons to say that I know what I'm doing, but obviously if someone else comes up with a new idea, why not embrace it and approach it? So, my goal is just one, make people of all ages aware of spatial audio and how powerful it is. I think it's quite symbolic, right? Lots of people don't understand what spatial audio is. I didn't understand it before. I was an audio engineer, and lots of audio engineers don't understand still what spatial audio is. Even if, to me, it's actually much simpler to learn than the audio engineering, for example, when you make music. I'm going to explain to you why I think that. Interestingly, earlier we were talking about virtual reality and how people divided between virtual reality and 360. And until 6 months ago, on Wikipedia, you could find the definition of virtual reality as virtual reality is virtual reality just when you use controllers, when you have interaction. This statement is a fresh, new statement on Wikipedia that actually doesn't say that. It says that you can use a headset or multi-projected environments, sometimes in combination with physical environments or props, to generate realistic images, simulate a physical presence. So they don't say anything about interaction. That's something quite interesting. I don't do interaction. I mean, I'm doing some interactive projects, but I like linear. Press play and follow the story. That's something that I think everybody can understand it. When you have interactions, everything starts to become more complicated, you know? Everybody likes it. What is spatial audio? It's a tough one. It refers to the plethora of signal processing and audio reproduction techniques that allow the perception of audio content in space and thus in context. Yes. Absolutely, I think, you know, it doesn't make sense really to me. I mean, yeah, it does make sense now, but at first when I read that, I was like, what? That's my interpretation of it. It's the field that comprehends all the psychological and technological approaches that aim at the creation and the production of sonically immersive environments. Does it make more sense? Yeah, sort of, yeah. Obviously, I'm doing spatial audio, so why should I care? Why would you care about spatial audio? Who cares, right? I mean, what's the point of it? So cool, it's just so cool. What's the reason behind it? I have a few quotes that I would like to quote, just my idea. It's essential for providing a believable VR experience. That's quite easy to understand. When VR, that's more important to me. When VR users detect a mismatch between their senses, the illusion of being in another world breaks down. If I have video, 360 video, and I have the sound that doesn't really work with it, all the immersion is gone. And no, there is no, like, you don't work just with visual. We are people that have 5, maybe 6 senses. So we need to, if you want to create immersion, we have to involve all these senses, or at least the ones that we use the most to understand where we are, vision and sound. Spatial audio is a powerful tool that you can use to control user attention, if you know how to use it, of course. All these codes are by Google. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I mean, if Google says that, that's right. I mean, they kind of know their stuff, right? So hopefully, I think they're right. But I just want to make sure that these are not random quotes. This is Google talking. So that's the title of my workshop. What is so special about spatial audio? Sorry for the. Oh, sorry. First of all, it's immersive feature. It's powerful. You can place someone sonically directly in a place, and you have sounds coming from everywhere because we live in we constantly hear. Our ears are always on. They never switch off. Our eyes can switch off. We can close them. We don't see anything. I constantly hear what's happening. So you can really work a lot with it and make immersive experiences with it. And spatial audio is the only field that reproduce height. Usually you don't hear, when you go to the cinema, you don't hear footsteps of someone walking on the floor. You hear them on the screen, and to me it's just, it doesn't make sense. Why? I hear someone, the footsteps coming from down there, from the floor, not from the screen. Working with audio objects in a 3D environment. I have a quick example. Who makes music in here? Is everyone making music? Yeah, I have some. So you know how panning works? Yeah? Okay, cool. Let me just. This is my favorite DAW. It's free actually, and you can just download it. Because it's free, sometimes it just decides not to work. Reaper. Yeah. If you want to start making spatial audio later, you can download that for free. And it's more complicated than that, so drop me an email if you want to. When you make music for stereo. Stereo means you have two speakers, two loudspeakers. And what you do, you move the sounds from the left to the right. For example, now. To the right. Over to the left. Whatever. That's pretty simple, right? So you work in speaker, it's in channel based. So you move from the left to the right channel. That's it. So for the past 100 years, people have been dealing with that, just with two channels to recreate entire worlds of sonic worlds. So we are talking about working with sound on a flat. We're working with sound, hoping to make it 360 by just playing out of a flat screen sort of thing. And this to me just doesn't make sense. It doesn't absolutely make sense. So what I like of spatial audio is that I place sounds. This rectangle here is an equirectangular 360 video. So in front, you have front of the video. On the sides, you have the back. And in the middle, you have the on the left and right, you have left and right. Imagine that you are watching a 360 video right now. And what I do, instead of placing a sound from the left speaker to the right speaker, I decide to place a sound and a coordinate in a virtual world. That makes sense, right? It just makes sense. I'm placing, if you are talking to me now, I place an object there. I don't start like doing crazy stuff between speakers. And this is massive time consuming, and people now, sound engineers are just fixed with this idea of tricking your mind with moving stuff from the left to the right channel, just to make you think that you hear something. In 3D, well, you can actually play sound around. For example, I can put my headset on, I have the 360 video, I use my controllers to play sounds whatever I want. That's not really, it makes sense to work this way in VR. So it's not as easy as it sounds, but you can make it happen. I think I'm just going to leave that. Combined, vision and audio can be really immersive. Again, visual can be super cool, very well crafted. Sound is bad. I'm sorry, but it doesn't really work. Sound can be amazing, like the best soundtrack ever, hear everything, but the visual is not that great. It just doesn't work. Mismatch of senses. Because I'm working in a virtual environment, when I place objects around, I take this 360 sphere of sound and I can decode it for any kind of system. I can have this 360, the same 360 sphere of sound that plays out of my headphones, that plays out of this speaker, that plays out of my 20.4 loudspeaker system. The same exact mix. So it's really easy to translate from one platform to the other. If I mix in stereo with the two channels, it just works in stereo, that's it. So it's limitative. This is another great thing. It's not as easy as it sounds. Again, you need some tweaking, but you can make it happen if you have a good experience. This is what I was trying to explain earlier. On the top, you have channel based. There you have 5 speakers at the top, and you just take the sources with microphones from the same positions, and you just play them through the speakers. That's it. In spatial audio, let's call it object-based approach, you take 3 objects at X, Y, Z coordinates in this virtual world, and then you render it to whatever loudspeaker system you have. All good? Raise your hand if you didn't understand anything. Don't be shy, don't worry. It can be tricky. Great. Last thing, one of the most important, head tracking. When you put headphones on and you watch your video on your screen, on your laptop, you move your head around and the sound of the person talking on the screen, it moves with you, right? That's another really stupid thing from my point of view. So why not having the sound of the person talking there coming from there, even if I move my head? That makes more sense. Or if I have a 360 video and someone is talking to me right now, I want the person that is talking to me right now that I can see there, hearing this person talking from there, even if I look from the complete other side of the scene. I think that's pretty solid. You know, you need to have that. These are my reasons. All clear until now? Yeah. Cool. Perfect. 360 VR plus spatial audio. I went through that already. If you have a 360 video and your speaker, your channel-based mix between 2 speakers, you don't have head tracking. You don't move your head around. I call it 0 degrees of freedom because you don't have any freedom in the space. But with 360 audio, call it 360 audio, call it 3D audio, spatial audio, they all mean the same. You have 3 degrees of freedom. You can move your head horizontally, vertically. You can't really move, physically move on other directions. So you don't have 6 degrees of freedom. But this is enough to make you think that you are in actual space. If a door lands on your right, it has to stand on your right, and you have to turn your head and hear someone talking from there. That makes sense. This 360 sphere of sound that we create with the 3 degrees of freedom is called scene-based because it's a scene, right? And there are different formats that you can use. Have you ever heard about ambisonics? Raise your hand if you heard about ambisonics. Okay, cool. This is one of at least 3 different types of spatial audio. Every single technology or spatial audio technology can be used for different purposes. For example, I have a 360 video. On one half of the video, I have one scene happening. On the other half, I have another scene happening. You can't use ambisonics, for example, in this case, because if you want to have a clear separation of sound between the 2 videos, you need to use another technology that is called quad binaural. What am I saying now? That to learn to use the best tool, just ask advice to a 3D audio guy, and he can tell you what to do. There are so many platforms now. There are like, what, 6, 7 delivery platforms now. Even if you go in your Gear VR now, and you play a video, it doesn't, you have like, what, 3 or 4 different apps where you can play videos from, and not all of them play the same type of spatial audio. So you need different platforms, you need to have different mixes and different, there is a lot of tweaking, a lot of stuff. Object-based mixing, great. 360 microphones are available. You can have one 360 microphone, I don't have it here with me now, like that big. You place it in the middle, and it records the entire field, the entire sound field, everywhere, top, bottom, left, right. And that's great, because I can literally capture a scene completely with one microphone. But it's not enough, and I'm going to explain why. As I said earlier, VR environment, when you are in these CGI environments, digital environments, you can walk around and pick up things. That's 6 degrees of freedom. It's more challenging to do. It's not anymore scene-based, another world that I'm going closer to, but I like telling stories. They are linear. I like beginning, middle, end. I like to deliver messages. Cinema, documentaries, this sort of things. Case study. In 2015, I already knew about ambisonics, already knew about spatial audio, and I knew about 360 videos. So I started watching 360 videos. And that was the question that I kept asking myself. Why isn't spatial audio so convincing to me? Why am I not, like, I'm not saying, oh, this sounds amazing, it just makes sense with a 360 video. So I started asking my question, what could have possibly gone wrong with these productions? I have different reasons. You can agree with me. You can't. Please tell me if you don't agree, or if you agree, then say I agree. Lack in considering spatial audio while writing the story. That's the biggest, really, problem. Teaching filmmakers and people that write the stories how to use sound in 3D. We are so visually focused that we don't think about sound. But because sound is subconscious, sounds we detect it and it happens in our mind, we don't actually see. It's difficult to say, with vision I can say that this is a table, it's a brown table. I can't say now that my voice is working at 1000 kilohertz at this frequency, at this amplitude. It's much more difficult. You can't really state. You can't say this sounds right, this sounds wrong. I have a trained ear, and I'm getting there. But for a person that doesn't have a trained ear, it's much more difficult. Everything works subconsciously. But yeah, tutoring, teaching people how to use spatial audio while writing the story. That's my goal. Another goal are my colleagues that they get offered to do a spatial audio project. They don't have an absolute clue what they are doing, and even if you're working in sound, you have 15 years of experience working at Pine Studios or big studios, you don't know how spatial audio works because it's another story. You don't have anymore this flat situation, you have a 360 situation, different technologies, different approaches. Literally the game changes almost completely. So you need to train your ear for spatial audio. If I have any sound engineer here, I think they understand what I mean. Lack of spatial audio production tools, but as video, same thing. We don't have tools to work with. We didn't have back in 2015. Now we've got loads of stuff, loads of production tools. Most of them are useless. Delivery platforms with low audio resolution. Right now, when you watch with your headset, with your Gear 360, let's say in visual terminology, we are working 1K audio, 500 pixels. It's pretty bad. But still, you can still impact people. What I'm saying here is that the delivery platforms have to improve their audio reproduction. So how can I tell a story now? How can I make people aware of spatial audio? How? Well, just by, I thought that was the easiest way to do it, telling a story using only spatial audio, so only using 360 audio. And you'd be like, okay, cool, well, how do you do that? Use headphones? I've done a lot of research, understanding, try to understand how we can trigger emotions. How can you actually trigger emotions in a 360 environment, that just using sound, obviously. So what kind of sounds, what kind of composition of sounds, frequencies, all these little details, what can really impact us just by using sound. Stay up to date with the technologies available. That was another thing, and that I'm always constantly, like, all the Facebook pages and this sort of stuff. Always look at what's the next big thing and what's available. Learn how to use how to create convincing virtual soundscapes. If we are here now, how can I recreate this situation sonically right now? That if you just hear it, you would think, I am there. I am in this exact theater with Axel talking. Analyze the sound shapes concept. Means something really important. When we walk, there are different sounds that I'm making now, and you understand that I'm not, for example, I'm not wearing high heels, so I could be. Your mind understands, processes the sounds that you are emanating as a person, and tries to understand if you are a female, if you are a male, how big you are, and if you're stressed, if I start walking faster or running, obviously there are different emotions. So understand the sound shapes. How can I recreate a sound shape of a person, 30 years old girl that is running away from someone, not because he's trying to rob her, but it's just like she's just like trying to escape, to run from her ex-boyfriend, just went with another girl. How can I say that just with sound, without her talking, without a voiceover in my head telling me that? Different challenges that takes a bit of time and exploration, and understand obviously how audio only formats tell a story: audio drama, radio drama, audio descriptions, this sort of stuff. So with a friend of mine, we created Eridanus, a 3D audio movie. Eridanus is a 40-minute story told just with spatial audio. Christopher Bubeck, a friend of mine, is a writer, and he wrote this story, and I tried to help him to produce it better for a sound, for a sonic platform only. It's a story of 4 girls trapped in the middle of the earth in 2171, I think. And they try to escape from the center of the earth, from the aliens that trapped them there. So it's a sort of like sci-fi situation, but we wanted to create sonic shape, sonic environments that sounded familiar to us, just to understand, just to give enough information to just not make it feel too gimmicky or too like crazy, too avant-garde, too futuristic. The idea was to literally place people, make them think that they are in a in the next future by using a blend of sounds recorded in normal environments where we live in, the underground, public places, and these sort of things, and adding these sci-fi elements to make them feel like they're in a different world. But thanks to the sounds that we all know that we put in the project, when you sit in there, you kind of feel familiar with the space, and you start picturing things without seeing anything. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot one important thing. The light is off, so you don't see anything. That was very important. You literally switch off the light, and you are for 40 minutes inside a completely pitch black room with other 3 people, so a shared experience. And you follow the story with a voiceover of a person that is telling you the main information about the story, and all these girls running around you and things happening, literally like an audiobook, but in 3D sort of thing. It was just really impactful for me that I made it. That I made it without even knowing what I was going to do or how it was going to sound. And for people that came over and they were like, "Wow, Axel, that's just like never." Sometimes someone told me, "I've never seen something like that." But that was the goal. That was like, when you have enough information, you can recreate pictures. They are not as defined as having a picture in front of you, but you can recreate a situation, someone really feeling bad or someone hurt on the floor. You can recreate the situation. You can use your own mind and what you know, your memories, to picture entire situations, and that's really powerful. With this example, I would like just to say that right now in this environment we can do great things and not be scared to do something that we don't really know how it's going to look or sound. I think when we risk it, when we go for something that we don't know, that's the moment where we can really learn. It could be fail, it could be big success. I always had to fail. I failed a few things, but a mixture of try to do something more radical. It's important, I think. What did I learn from it? The audience was feeling constantly immersed in a virtual environment. That's great. That was the goal. Too much VO doesn't really help. Having someone voiceover, VO instead of voiceover. Having too much voiceover in your head doesn't help you. You just give you so much information, you don't even have time to actually appreciate where you are in this virtual world. So that was something that we are working on to improve it for the next version. Sound cues, you are in a room, virtual room right now. I have something happening in front of me, and then a sound is called sound trigger. Sound trigger is when a sound happens with the reason that you must turn your head and follow the sound to change the focus of the scene. In my case, I think maybe too many of them. So people started moving their heads too much around, and it can be quite difficult to follow. So sound triggers are important to me. I think there should be more people should take consideration using sound triggers to change the scene in a 360 environment. But I'm going to talk about that later on. And work even more closely to the writer in this case. Obviously, the writer depends on the experiences, but tends to be people don't know about spatial audio, people don't know about 360. So as close we can be to them and be the consultant for them. We can be they can have the 360 video consultant and a 3D audio consultant to help the writers just to create better content, to accelerate the process of educating writers and content creators. I think that's something really important that we should take care of. Now it made more sense to me after that project, much more sense, everything. But there are still people that don't believe really in 3D audio, and they actually hate it. Like Christopher Nolan. He said, I hate 3D audio because it makes people focusing on the surroundings, so around them, and not on the actual story. I don't like 3D audio. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about, right? It's just, how can you say that? It makes sense to me that his statement made sense for various reasons. Never experienced a well-made, yeah. But lots of people, they say, oh yeah, I'm a VR blogger or whatever. I'm a VR evangelist. So do you own a headset? Have you ever tried something? Yeah, once every month. What? I mean, you should be able to, you should be on the headset every day almost to be able to criticize something. How can you say that? Audio people that work with him, they make him think that. The audio field is really full of stubborn people that I always have to deal with. That's why sometimes I like to work alone. or he's just stubborn, we are all a bit stubborn for various reasons. Or he's scared of jumping into a completely new field because it's easy to do some stuff that you know how they work, and after that you made Batman or the biggest Hollywood movies. Going to do a 360 movie, obviously, it would be for the critics, it would be a bit more tricky, and you have to learn a new thing all over again. And yeah, that could be a reason. I mean, I don't know him, but if you know him, let me know. I would like to drop him an email. So I'm ready to give now a bit of advice, maybe, let's say. I hope it will be useful about spatial audio for the filmmaker. I start with saying that I know exactly that we don't always have budget to bring a sound guy with you. You don't have the budget to go to Madagascar on your own, out in your own pocket to make an amazing 360 documentary and pay a professional sound, 3D sound recordist. So I'm hoping that when you go somewhere, you try to think it before, you get in touch with someone, you can write me, or there are loads of other people that are doing it now. Just to understand better how you can do it on location, on your own, because if you just do the right things on location, you can actually give enough material to the sound mixer afterwards to make an amazing mix, and you can spend less money on having someone that recreates all the sounds for you because you didn't have time on location to record them. That's something I think really important. We're making immersive experiences, right? And I already said why using stereo sound. There are various reasons. There are people that believe that sometimes it's better to use stereo sound in some situations. I'm not one to say that they are wrong. Maybe yes, but I have various reasons to say that I think there are better ways to use spatial sound. And using stereo sound lots of times is because of people being in a rush and they need to finish their project overnight. So how to possibly use immersive audio in your immersive content? We have to understand it at first. And I have to be honest, it's quite easy, and it's something that we can all do. Walk blindfolded somewhere and spend one day from the moment that you wake up till the moment that you go to sleep, completely blindfolded. You do it once. You don't need to do it like every day for like 1 month. It's not like going on a diet or this sort of stuff. Just take one Sunday that you usually use to watch. Sometimes you just want to relax. You watch movies. You just ask your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, anyone that you trust, just to grab you. You put you blindfold yourself, and you just walk around in places where you've never been before. And it's incredible how it just clicks, and it's just like you start focusing on things that you've never heard before. And from that moment, you're not going to listen anymore. You're not going to listen anymore. You're going to be aware of where you are, visually and sonically. And this is something. I mean, that's my girlfriend, my fiance. That she's always been supporting me in these crazy things that I do. Yeah, that was funny. Remember not to run when you are helping someone, and mostly don't run when you have to cross the street. I almost fell on the floor in the middle of the street with cars coming. But yeah, that's just a piece of advice. Honestly, one day, I promise you, one day you're going to be like, okay, now stuff makes more sense. And you're going to be aware, I mean, I'm an environmentalist, I like conservation and sort of things, so you're going to understand how much noise we make as humans, and how much cluster of random sounds our lives are. And I think it's really important to be aware of it, so you can kind of understand more where to go, what to avoid. Something very important. And let me know if you do it. How do I recreate an immersive environment? There are different layers of sound in almost every situation that help you understand where you are. I'm always talking about like us humans being able to recognize a space without focusing too much on question yourself, where am I now? You should just click, like I'm there, without spending too much time. There are groups of random sonic objects. Example, now I'm going to recreate a space. Raindrops. You have loads of little small objects happening all around. If you're outside here and it's raining, lots of objects around, they are happening. You don't really know where they are, but they combine together to create rain, the rain sound. And this gives you some information. You've got different groups of random objects that you can understand what they are. For example, birds, a storm of birds. You understand they are coming from there, and at some point you can even point them out. Reverberation. I know it, then right now I'm in quite a big space, there is lots of reverberation, but if I'm in a smaller place, the reverberation is not that long anymore, and it sounds more, right now it's a bit difficult to recreate this, but trust me, when you walk in a place that is smaller, you hear the reverberation. Reverberation tells you a lot of information, type of shoes, how big the place is. You can immediately say, I'm in a cathedral or in a hangar. The materials on the walls gives lots of information. All these little things combined together makes you understand where you are. Subconsciously detected sound objects. This is in general. I have to be honest, I don't remember right now why I wrote it. Subconsciously detected sound objects. I think it's just yeah, sorry, I had like really hard weeks. We always detect subconsciously sound. We don't really think, oh, right now I'm in an auditorium with 12 people in front of me and everybody are wearing these different types of shoes. You don't really think it, but it works like automatically in the background, right? And then you have defined sound objects. Someone talking, dog barking, and these sort of like footsteps. Things that you can point and say, this is that. And it's really easy to say that that's it. Footsteps. You can say maybe there are footsteps. You don't really know who maybe are walking, but you know they are there. All this combination of sounds, it's an exploration. This whole spatial audio is an exploration of the sonic environments where we're constantly living. And if you understand it, you're going to be able to use it in your work. I'm sure that many already works for people that I've been teaching. The difference was massive after they learned spatial audio in class. There was really massive difference. Example, do we have time, for example? When did it start? Okay. Giving one quick example. So, which one should I go? Easy one. This is exactly what I've been talking about earlier. Rain, birds, church bell, and footsteps. So, right now I have a combination of objects, and I want to make you feel that you are somewhere. And what you can do as well, you can use free software. It's called. Sorry. I'm going to start just experimenting tonight. Check FP360. They have a whole bundle. Facebook makes this tool to create spatial audio content. And you can immediately start making your own spatial audio mixes. Combined with video, not combined with video, but if you make 360 content, you can literally start doing it tonight. It's really easy to do. You just have to follow the tutorials. Maybe send me a couple of emails, but you'll be able to do it. Footsteps sound really bad, but things are different. objects all together, you will be able to understand where you are. Obviously, right now, you don't have anything else related, so you could be in the middle of the forest here in Friuli or wherever, and just walking around in a rainy day, or you could be anywhere else. But if you add to that all the story, everything makes more sense. The quality right now, the quality of this mix right now is what I think of most of the 360 experiences that you have. That you are in a place, you see lots of things. You know, there are lots of experiences now in VR where you just walk in a place and there is no story. So, kind of, yeah, it's cool. I feel that I'm there, but there is something missing. I mean, that's my point of view. I think that we need more stories combined with experiences, not just being there. Being there for a reason, that's something more powerful to me. But yeah, here I just wanted to show that I can just move my objects around. Now you can't hear it obviously because I'm playing just out of 2 speakers, but if you had your headphones, you will be able to navigate inside this 360 world. And I can just take my objects and move them around. It's probably, oh yeah, these are the birds. So I just create this sort of like combination of objects and I recreate spaces. There is not always the need to recreate a space from scratch, obviously. You can use a 360 microphone, but I'm going to explain to you in a second how to do it, how to use it. Again, think about spatial audio while scripting and storyboarding, the toughest of the things from my point of view. How can we do it? First of all, standard indie film production overview, that's how I called it. But there is the same time, this shows like the same time, these two, the red and green rectangle, they show the same time. The red one is decent organization with poor medium understanding, and the green one obviously great understanding and whatever you want. From the bottom, you go up towards the deadline, and underneath you have the record, all the production, pre-production and everything. If you start by having the idea, the exact idea of what you want to do, you're going to be able to start already at the mixing stage, avoiding all these sections. There is the worst section, because here you are fixing problems. But I think this is even in video, I believe. When you have to edit and fix issues, that's where people spend the most money. Always. If you know your stuff, or at least you ask questions before and you know what you're doing, you can already start higher and you can reach the deadline. Maybe obviously you're going to do some nights or you're going to work some nights, but you're going to have a better result at the end of the entire situation. That's what I see in London, honestly. Every time, every single time, people that don't know what they're doing, loads of money, just like, right? Just throw away money, and we have them. Sorry, that was just like a little section that I think is quite important to always remember. When you are on set, or even before, when you are wrecking, when you're trying to understand what you're doing, you have to understand what is sonically happening in your in the environment where you're going to, where you want to shoot. That's important. There was, what was that?
Door.
Yeah. 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 I don't. Thank you. But that was the point. You have to look around and try to understand what you could use to use what elements of the place where you're going to shoot, use to change the focus of the story. I would love to see, I mean, I saw a couple of productions, but I would love to see a sort of like performance, theatrical performance of the actors. They're literally performing in this 360 video. They make the triggers, they make the sound triggers, they open the door and they close the door on the other side. It's something really difficult because, you know, directing actors without seeing them is quite difficult. But using more natural sound triggers and not made in post is something quite powerful, because everything feels more natural. Just move your head as audience. You look at this person going on one side, and then suddenly a door's open on the left, and you just turn your head. A lot of times people do it by editing. You chop from one side to the other. This is something I think really interesting to do. Avoid creating transitions, too many transitions in post, I think. A lot of time are quite, we overdo it, but we know that if you start doing too many cuts in VR, just you can't really do it. You don't want to make people feel sick. And obviously you have to check if the environments present noisy elements. This is the sound of fountain. It's a constant shh. You can't record any dialogue in there. This is recorded with a 360 microphone. They capture 360 microphones captures everything around. And if you have one of these noises that are really high pitch, if you try to record some dialogues or something, you're not going to be able, you have to replace the whole thing. You're not going to be able to use the sound recorded on set. So you always have to be aware of what you can record, what you can, what can be quite difficult to avoid, to fix later in post. You have to ask yourself if there is any music mixed in the scene, later on. Just because you can use music, you can mix music spatially, and you can place it in different positions, and use it as sound trigger. You can direct the people to move it around. I'm just giving hints to content creators when they are writing their stories. I'm not saying that you have absolutely to do it, but it's something that you can use it. And ask questions, but I think we always have to ask questions right now in this field. Capturing 3D sound on location. This is a Obsidian that was in Ethiopia last August. This is the Obsidian camera, a 360 camera, stereo camera, and then underneath you have the 360 microphone. So you try to put the microphone obviously where the camera is. This is 360, so it captures everything around. It's a great tool. If you shoot 360 videos, you want to have 360 audio. But there is a but now. Record having a good spatial sound is a combination of equipment, and the microphone, the 360 microphone itself, by alone, doesn't do the job. I'm screaming right now, but I can't really scream. It doesn't do the job. You can't solve all your problems by just having a 360 microphone under your camera. You don't capture everything. You always have to use, most of the times you have to use radio mics. I'm saying that, but sometimes I use just the 360 microphone because it sounds good, but you don't know it on location. You can't say, oh, this 360 recording is going to sound amazing. You don't know it, anything can happen. So you always have to record your contributors, your characters, spot effects, something that is happening with radio mics or somehow. You always need to have, all the sources covered. So later on, if you give me the mix, I don't have to go and re-record stuff from scratch, dialogues and these sort of things. I have all the material that I need to work and make some great mixes. Make sure that you get the sound effects on location. When you have moving shots, moving shots can be cool sometimes, depending on the situation. Usually they use the mantis or like these sort of cards. They're literally like cards that you can control with the radio, and you can control it. And these cards that make such a noise that is so annoying the whole time, and you can't really record any 360 sound out of it. So you need to use radio mics to record your contributors, your characters, and then after that they moved the card out of the way, you can go and record, I don't know, the different objects that are happening. I don't know if you have some animals doing something or anything that is related to the scene to the video you just shot. That's something really important, and that saves time in post. Using H2N, better than nothing. Better than nothing. Yeah, you can use sound triggers. Now I repeat myself. Sorry about that. If you use, yeah.
What is the H2N?
The H2N is that recorder down there. Okay. It's a recorder that records in 360. I say 360 because I'm going to explain now the reason why it's in 360. It's a cheap recorder that you can use it. It's 120 euros, something like that, I think. It does its job. It's great. But there is a massive difference between H2N and a proper 360 microphone. This on the left is the Ambio microphone by Sennheiser. Obviously the price difference is quite high, 140 euros, 1,600 euros. And you can rent it out now pretty easily, but you need the whole system to work with it. But I'm saying that the H2N is actually really bad, because if we go back a couple of slides, here, you see that I placed the microphone under the camera. So if someone is talking straight to the camera, the microphone is actually down there. So the microphone picks up, obviously, what's coming from up there. The problem of the H2N is that the H2N picks up sound just horizontally. Still in 360, so anywhere around me, but just horizontally. So the moment that you have someone talking from up there, and the H2N is at that level, you have a sort of like really weird situation happening sonically that ruins the audio completely, and you can't, I mean, it sounds really bad. So that's why always use a radio mics. Have the H2N, why not? It's always good to have it, but use the radio mics. That solution, with this solution, I'm able to take the recording, the 360 recording, and extract pieces of the 360 sound field. I literally go to the video, I go to the sound, the sound sphere, and I take a corner of it or whatever space, and I can take it out, put it in, focus on it. I can take the sphere and just like squash it, make anything I want with it, and I have much more control over that. It happens a lot of times that I just use the sound coming from the 360 microphone. I don't use anything else. But a lot of times when things are happening and are really important, I use radio mics just because I have a more clearer sound, to make sense. I had a big example, but I think, well, I can just show you, actually show you this example briefly. It's not going to be boring as the previous one, or maybe yes. Here I have a comparison between the H2N and the Ambio. This again, an equirectangular radar of what's happening sonically. And this is the H2N, but I want the Ambio first. This is what's happening with the Ambio. And you've got quite a lot of stuff happening, right? You don't really hear anything. Oh, but anyway, I don't need to hear that, it's not really interesting, but there are a lot of stuff happening. Someone is talking there, something else is happening there to read traffic, if I remember well, and something's happening there. Great, I can take that, I can take this section now, if I want, and just extract it. It kind of works, still it's a work in progress, the tools are not perfect, but you can take out a dialogue out of a 360 sound field, recorded with the Ambio. With the H2N, that's what you've got. Nothing. You've got just this line of sound, and you can't extract anything from it. It sounds bad because all the sounds from everywhere, they get squashed, and it's unusual. I mean, people use it. You can do quite cool things with it sometimes, but it's just like if you want to go to the next level, we need to use better tools. And honestly, to hire the Ambio for one day is like £30, something like that. Okay, it's not easy for me, but you can find it in Italy as well. I saw in Milan and Rome, you can hire it. So you could have some great sound if you go somewhere important, you know. So important. Or just use the radio mics. Instead of the struggle of using the H2N and sync the H2N and everything, just use the radio mics and record some ambiances around the scene later on. But at least focus on having the radio mics sounding just right, so you can just place them later on in a field. You can take the radio mics and an ambience that you recorded before shooting with the H2N or a library you can download. So you have a combination of ambisonic 360 sound field and different radio mics placed around, and it just sounds much better than having random than having this sort of thing. I don't even call it audiophile really. How is it? That's it? Yeah? Yeah. I'm almost done, and after, if you have any question, you can ask me. I repeat it again, because this is really important. I did it on purpose. When VR uses the mismatch, the immersion is gone, it breaks. So it's really important to work closely. I think in the future, maybe we're going to have someone that's going to be able to do video and audio at the same time. But at least we're going to have one person in one type of motion, with their emotion, making one piece of content. So we're not going to have many people around doing different things and then combining everything together. We see in the future. Let's try, and I'm going to give you some reasons again why using spatial audio instead of flat sound. You can use spatial audio to move people's attention. You have someone, again, sound triggers to change the focus of a scene from one side to the other. And this is quite important. Create an immersive sonic environment in 3D. That's something that I said a few times today. I'm going to repeat it again. It's really important. Stereo flat sound. When you listen to music, there's this way of saying in the audio world, everything sounds in your face. It's like really close in stereo. Everything is like sounds here. But with spatial audio, you can take that and just like push it away. You can create this depth in sound that is much more real, much more close to the place that we constantly live in. The listener can move inside. One of the biggest differences when you have head tracking, sound with head tracking, it just if I hear someone talking and I move my head and their voice stays there, that makes sense. Something clicks in our head and says, okay, I'm there now, and I know that the person is there, and I don't have this weird feeling every time I am watching a 360 video of the voice of someone at first is talking there. I move my head and I keep hearing them coming from there, but they're actually there. I see them there, and it's just like it doesn't move from my point of view. And well, it's scientifically proven that people, when they hear these situations, these like difference, they just feel more immersed. That's it. That's just the thing that we need now: head tracking sound, head tracked sound. So, thinking about spatial audio since the beginning is important. Flat sound makes it not immersive, it just kills it. And H2N alone won't do the job, remember that. Talk to your video audio dude. They are all people always happy to give information. They're not going to charge you for information. Because I know that if I give you more information, then maybe you come to me afterwards and we'll have to work 1 day instead of 10. And it's cheaper for you, it's better for me because I can do other stuff in the other 9 days. and we still have great content. Understanding the medium, that's something that is for sound, for vision, we have to understand it better. Avoid stereo library music if you can. That's something tricky, I know, but we've got to do it sometimes. But it won't always work. Yeah, when you have someone talking in front of you, make the sound triggers happen on the left or on the right, not on the back. As humans, if you're gonna go out and in your blindfold experience, you're gonna notice that you clearly understand when something is happening from the left or the right, but when it's front to back, you don't have a good directionality. We don't capture it very well when it's in front of us, sonically. So if you want to have some sound triggers, make them happen possibly on the left and the right. That's a useful advice. My final thoughts, very brief. We need more content made in Hollywood standard. But for Hollywood standard, I mean very, very well made in the smallest of the detail. Literally, like, absolutely, like, astonishing sound and video quality and great stories. And for now, to me, I don't have a pole position of the best three. It's still empty. All these three are still empty. I don't have the piece that is just like, I have a reference. I don't have a reference of this is the best piece ever. The pole position is still open, I think. But you know, it will happen at some point. 3D audio headphones, scams. If someone says, oh yeah, I want to buy these super 3D headphones, they sell them to me for £600. They're so good. No, you can use any headphone for 3D. You just need a head tracker to make them 3D. You can have your little head tracker. You put on your head. I have my headphones. That's how I work. There we go. I've got my 3D headphones. Yeah, so please, if someone tells you, oh yeah, 3D audio in your Chrome web browser or whatever, no, scam. Totally scam. And you can't take a stereo, again, you can't take a stereo sound, make like a music, you can't make it sound spatial. It has been made for 2 speakers. That's it, it's done, finished. I said it earlier, I think with headphones you can't detect when stuff that are happening at the bottom or at the top. You just hear, if I watch a 360 video and I hear some footsteps, I hear them coming from this level, not from down there, just because of a technology limitation. So that's why I love loudspeakers. What I'm doing, I take my loudspeaker system, I make someone sit in the middle, put the headset on without headphones, and then press play. And that's another level of experiencing something, because it's literally, you can hear people walking, the presence, the sonic presence of people walking close to you. That's something that, you know, I would love to be able to have one set of loudspeakers in every single city where I'm going, or have them in my backpack, just to make you feel what I always hear. And it's something obviously difficult to explain by word, but trust me, as soon as you're going to try it, because at some point you're going to try it, you'll be like, that now makes sense. That's a bit, maybe not everybody agree with me, but I think the stories are, I'm not a storyteller, I'm just a person that loves audio, and loves spatial audio, but I get more impact from stories than just experiences. I think the impact is what we need now to make people more aware of VR and this new medium that is coming up. Stories, impactful stories. Shared experiences. So when you go to a place and you have different people experiencing VR at the same time, or you have loudspeaker systems. This is something important where you can actually, I would love to have VR hubs, more VR hubs around, where I put the headset on someone, they try it, and then they give me the feedback. They tell me, oh yeah, that was great, or that was crap. Well, then tell me what you think that wasn't that great. And let's try to understand what you could watch to actually enjoy this medium. And being aware of immersive sound, yeah, is my job. I always do it. I know that I can't expect you to understand everything now, but I know that if I kind of spread the word around, we are all going to be able to understand more. But not just for us, for everything in general. It's good to be aware of where we are. Oh, well, make more amazing content. That's the most important thing. I finished with that. From Guns or Knives production company. We're currently in a time where people are nervous about participating until they know that VR is a real deal. But you just need to go out and do it, I think. That's the whole point. Yeah, I'm done. I hope that was interesting. Thank you for listening. Do we have time? Yeah. Cool. Any questions?
So you don't use Pro Tools as a VW?
I did use Pro Tools, but it's a bit limitative. With Reaper, I have more. I can do more things.
So this is the standard for editing.
Sorry, Reaper.
Yeah, is the standard or not?
Now with Pro Tools, you can work with higher definition. You can work with in higher order ambisonics, so 16 up to 16 channels, and that's great. Costs a lot of money, and I like to customize my own setup, my own workflow, and Pro Tools doesn't let me do that. But you can still do it. If you feel, it's just a tool. If you feel comfortable in Pro Tools, you got to spend 3K and get a higher version. Yeah. That's another issue. I don't want to really be tied down to one system. It's just, depends on you. But Reaper is great. It's just a matter of learning it, like every tool. Any other? Yeah.
Is that a Facebook plugin? Is there something, some best devices for doing that job that the Facebook plugin does?
Yeah, the one that I showed you there, it's much more expensive, and it's made by the guy that created the format of ambisonics. It's much more expensive, but you can. Facebook 360 is already great.
Yeah.
But
I also use it.
Sorry.
I use that.
You use it, okay. You have already great things. It's just a matter of I like control. I like to have the sound objects and be able to shape it and do things with it. And Facebook is a great tool to start with. Yeah. But you can create your own. If you understand the medium, you can actually create a free, high quality workflow where you can do the same thing that I do with the expensive one, but when you add more things, stack more things on top of the other, with lots of plugins, more things can go wrong. And when I have a 5 hours deadline, I don't want technology to get in my way. That's something important, I think.
And in the case of music,
instead
of sounds design, do you think that the sphere sounding will also work well for music as well?
For when you work with a score of music? Yeah, I think, the project that for UNICEF is completely specialized. I think it's just a matter of understanding it. You don't want to place, for example, a really important flute in front where the person is talking. You want to place it around and maybe, push it a bit away and make it sound fading out. And it's always tricky, just because music is abstract. Yeah. It's not possible, you can't really touch it. And it's difficult to make it sound that is coming from the space. But you can use, you have a scene in a house, you place a laptop there, and you make the sound coming out of the laptop. If you really want to have some music, it's not as impactful as having it sounding nice and full, but it's still something. Like having a chilled music compared to rock music already gives you different state of minds for the characters. That answers the question.
It could also be a a narrative device as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's still a lot of testing. You have to try it. Every single situation is different. But I would say,
musical.
sorry.
No, I was thinking a VR musical.
Yeah, they've done a few things like that as well. It's always, you know, on headphones, it's not, you can't enjoy it as much as when you have a loudspeaker system.
About playing sounds, to experience a nice 360 audio, you need an audio system 5.1, not a headphone.
Yeah, I mean, you can, that would be better, but still, who has a 5.1 system that sounds good at home? I don't have it.
I also.
Yeah. So it's like, it's more tricky. Headphones are convenient to make people aware of it, but then I would like to see more hubs where there are loudspeakers and better systems. So at first, people try it home, they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool, that sounds amazing, it looks amazing. Then I go to the VR hub, and then I have the boom experience. That's something I think important. If you have any questions, just we talk later. Any more questions?
I would like to add maybe a reason to your list of reasons why people don't give so much importance to spatial audio. From my field, that is more or less journalism or communication, one of the problems is that if you are putting your videos on social media, people lots of time watch at them and they just don't use audio.
Yeah.
And so it seems stupid, but that's one of the reasons why you have to put words in videos, for example. So I don't know. I would like to do works with some good audio, but I still have to convince people that will have to pay me that's important. So.
Yeah, I totally understand that. That's something that I always have to deal with. The idea that I can't really deliver something this way because maybe people don't actually put the headphones on at all, or they don't even switch the sound on. But that's why we are in a visual world, and people listen to we listen to music most of the times to put ourselves in another world, because we don't want to be there where we are right now. We just want to feel something different. And I'm kind of like, hoping that we're going to be able to making people aware of what our surroundings. Everybody will start listening to less music on headphones, but maybe more of the environment is around them, enjoying what's happening around. Or maybe, and these I'm sure if more people become aware of the surroundings, people are going to start thinking more of how to integrate the music into these situations. But yeah, it's a tough one, definitely. Yeah.
Can you produce a sonic or audio storyboard?
Audio storyboard? Yeah. For what?
Like working together with the director or an author, storyteller.
Yeah.
Like he's producing a storyboard with a visual, or about the scenes, about the visual part. And can you produce something with him which relates more to audio?
Definitely, that will make much more sense, and I think it will be even easier to make than visual. Visual takes quite a bit of time to put stuff together. Record your voice, you just use your phone, press rec, and just record it, and you can create things quite easily. It's an interesting approach. I unfortunately never had someone that had the time to do that with me, but I hope at some point. Yeah, definitely. If you want to do it. Why not? Cool. Any other questions?
I hope that now the new versions of virtual worlds like Sansar, Music on Life, and High Fidelity, I don't know if people know what I'm describing, will be useful to raise well the interest towards the 3D audio, so you to expertise the most immersive emotional experience possible, no?
Yeah, I think
we see like the developers, builders will move. Will move in this new market to build the best 3D sound united with the best image spherical, no? We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, technology keeps going.
Yes.
It keeps going forward. You know, we were talking earlier. If in the beginning of the 20th century it took 10 years to like develop cinema or whatever, I don't know exactly what we're talking about. Now it takes 1 year to develop a new technology. 2 years. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, YouTube released the support to 360 audio on YouTube. 3 years ago. It was the first online platform that was doing that. So it's literally, we can't really say right now. Right now it's still too early to say, oh yeah, VR doesn't work, VR whatever. It's just too early. We haven't tried it enough. We did try to make content, but it's still not amazing as we were hoping to. But slowly you can see that people are understanding it and getting closer to it and closer and closer. I think at some point we're going to have something that is going to just like boom. I'm not saying that we're going to go around with headset. I think that's a bit too radical. But I like the idea, for example, of documentaries. Bringing you in a place where you would never be able to go.
Simulations, also the virtual reality is very good for the extreme sports simulation.
Yeah.
Like virtual climbing, virtual submarine experiences.
Definitely. Well, I see that a really powerful tool, you know, for people that maybe are not able to do it. That's something that is always, you know, someone can't really climb, maybe, but they are able to actually do it, like anyone else. And that's, you know, making you feel special anymore. That's I see great things that you can do with the technology. I think we have just to get out of the gimmicky situation we would be. No question? All good?
Okay.
Maybe if I can just take an ask. I'm a sound engineer, so and 1 year and a half ago I started get interested in 3D audio. I have this question. I mean, I'm starting to think about buying an Ambeo or a microphone, but from the first order to the third we are now, maybe I saw there are microphone of the second order already.
Yeah.
Is there this big difference except for the channels they use?
Second order, I mean, it's not the number of channels, it's the quality of the channels.
Yeah.
It's like having, sorry, we're talking audio geek now. It's better to have,
I'm sorry.
it's better to have 4 shirts.
Yeah.
Instead of the actual value of the capsules on the Ambio is £50 each. Therefore,
yeah, okay.
£50. You can buy them, you know, the shop down
the China shop, yes.
Yeah. But I heard some prototypes that were using a really high definition capsules, 4 capsules.
Okay.
That was sounding like I was there. Just press on. I was like,
okay.
really? I just jumped literally from the chair. I think I don't own an Ambio right now. I use prototypes.
Yeah, okay. No,
but
my question was, it's would be this more higher orders. They really have this impact on the listener.
Yeah. I think for recording, no. For decoding onto headphones, yes.
Okay.
It's just when you're working first order.
Yeah.
Decoding from first order.
Yeah, and then
really low quality 360 audio into headphones. You start having like scattering. You look at something in the front of you. You move your head and something slightly starts jumping sonically. Third order is nice and smooth.
And I also have experiences in some lack of positioning. I mean, it's like in the top corners of this sort of cube you are in, and it's a common problem, or
I have lots of people that are doing research on how we are lacking the frontal and back localization. But if you spend one day
Yeah.
blindfolded.
I usually did it when I was a child, so I'm
Okay.
an audio guy.
Okay, good. So it's like you kind of understand that it's actually we don't have a lot of directionality in front
Yeah,
of
no,
us.
that's for
So
sure.
I don't know why they want to recreate something that isn't actually natural.
Okay.
It could, yeah.
No, I was like I did few like really indie project for some contest, and I really explained this like it's strange because everything becomes blurry. From the front back you don't have this kind of really good perception, but looking at following the head in that particular points, I was really like blurry image. I mean, not so defined, quite disturbing. Actually.
On the headphones.
Yeah, on the headphones.
Well, I don't know what you were using as the decoder, but
Yeah.
all the headphones now the coding system just have horizontal decoding. You don't have vertical.
Not vertical.
There's no vertical. If you look at something is happening on top of your head, you look at it still sounds there.
It's still.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
still technology.
Yeah, I mean.
It needs to go further, and it's just difficult to send so many channels over internet.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe you said it already because I missed the first part of the talk. So in that case, I'm sorry, and I'll ask you again in private. But it's clear that it's like a new field, and people need to be made aware about this. And you said it. So my question is, in which kind of situation, in which field, there is more money for spatial audio, and so where is it easier to invest and to focus on to develop this field?
Location-based installation. There is lots of money when you do this sort of stuff. Depends where you are.
What about games?
Yeah, there is lots of games. I mean, I do mostly. There are a lot of money in games. Definitely. Yeah, sorry. I'm just a cinematic guy. I don't do games. I don't personally like games that much. I just killed everybody that wanted maybe to work with me on games. No one wants to work with me anymore. But yeah, there are a lot of money games, definitely. Sorry, yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, installations.
Yeah, and installations and this sort of stuff. 360 videos, there are stuff happening. It's just another. We were talking earlier. It's not a different business plan, a different way of getting money. Distribution is not really the best way to get money. Doing it more location-based, I think, for someone that is indie that doesn't have like a big name, big people with big money behind them, it's easy to get like small money. You get like €5 entrance, and you get experiences. VR cinema, this sort of thing. I think are better and easier to do. You don't have to put together a cinema. It's a hell of a work. You can turn any room in a VR cinema because you just need to have 5 headsets. A little software that you're able to play all of them at the same time, and you're sort of done. You work a bit on the interior and these sort of things, but you can actually make something really cool without having to work for years before being able to open it.
So what you're saying is that you will follow the usual path that this kind of technologies follow, like video, for example. That's we wouldn't even know what it is about if we wouldn't see it in a cinema, and now most people have a cinema-like experience in their home. So it might be with installations first, and then maybe we'll have this at home.
Yeah, well, it's funny now. Anyone here can watch a 360 video now on their phones or on your laptop. But this is quite a tricky situation because there are different ways of watching it, and the content is not carefully chosen. When you go to Netflix, 95% of the stuff, I don't know exactly how. 1 out of 3 is a good piece of content. If you go in a VR database, lots of content risks to be random and maybe not that impactful. So it's still, we need to have better content. And I think the first timers, most importantly, they have to be with someone that has experience in VR to kind of drive them towards like, yeah, that's the cool. Maybe someone didn't like an experience, but they have an assistant, a VR assistant near them that can help them just understand what is better, enjoy the medium instead of just like watching something on the screen at home on your own. Oh, that's rubbish. Just throw it away and go do something else. That's something that bit of a shame. But as we were saying earlier as well, there are big companies that want to make content, big companies. But this is the more difficult one because you need to get in touch with big people and convince them to spend 100,000 euros on your project, so it's more tricky. I think the VR hubs, something pretty interesting that we should work on.
Okay, thank you.
I hope it